Welcome, everybody, back to the Friar Talk podcast and YouTube channel. For today's episode, we're going to be going live after a rough series against the St. Louis Cardinals, where the Padres were swept. Very unfortunate stuff in St. Louis, because what has been kind of the norm of the last couple of weeks is there was no offense. Basically nothing. This has become a team that pretty consistently scores 2 runs, and that's it. And if their starter goes 7, basically if their starter throws a quality start, a lot of times that hasn't even been enough. We saw that with Blake Snell. I know that Darvish didn't have a quality start, but he had 7 innings pitched and 3 runs allowed. So, he was there. I don't know why they kept throwing him out there, because I didn't think that made much sense for the spot. He ends up allowing 5 today, but this is becoming a very frustrating offense to watch. I see a couple comments. This is how we're all feeling. Jonathan says, "I know this team is a lot better than they look, but it's looking pretty horrific lately. Might as well have thrown Blake Snell to pinch hit in the way Robbie Cano has been doing at the plate." This is the frustrations of everyone. Tatis alone will not be the resolve of this issue. So, Chase, Isaac, what are you guys feeling about? How frustrated are you? What are you guys thinking?
It's hard to put it into words. I mean, we had 6 hits, one of them being an extra base hit. You pinch hit Azokar in the 9th inning for a guy that's 3 for, I think you said 32 earlier, in Cano. He's hitting under a 50 now. I'm pretty sure he was a little above that with his 1 plate appearance now, but that didn't make any sense at all. You probably should have let Azokar hit there. You let him hit in, the 9th inning in 1 game. He gave you the single to walk it off. I think he's proven his shot. You give him that shot in the MLB. Let him see how he does in high situations. I think you should have been fine there. I really don't know what to think with Grisham. I mean, it looked like he was going to turn it around. He hit the 2 home runs late in the game the last week, but an 0 for 3 showing again. The catchers are just not good. Kim is all right. Cronenworth is still struggling heavily. Voight is still very hit and miss. Hosmer has been horrific, and I mean absolutely horrific in the last 15 to 30 games. If you guys didn't know, Eric Hosmer in his last 15 games, if it loads, he is hitting 179 with a 246 OPS and a 196 slugging in the past 15 games. It is not good. It is absolutely abysmal. He has under a 200 slugging. Machado's been the one bright spot, and Profar, he's been good as of late. I'll give Profar that. He had a rough game yesterday, but today 1 for 4 from the top of the lineup. I mean, this team just hasn't been hitting all around, and Machado in the 2 spot, as much as it makes sense to have him there, it's just you got to have him with people on base, because I think I saw a stat. It was 30% of the Padres' RBIs and runs came from Machado, and hitting him in the 2 spot really doesn't give him justice to get a lot of RBIs when the guy in front of him is only getting on 1 for 4 out of a game. You really need to throw him in the 3 or 4 spot at this point and pray to God that the rest of the lineup gets on in front of him, because that's the only way you're going to win games is Machado hitting someone in.
Yeah, we all knew Hosmer was going to fall off. It was inevitable. I guess he's still decent. His numbers are still good, but his fall off the past 15 games especially have been pretty significant. You're not seeing many base hits anymore. You're starting to see he had a lot of luck, considering his fly ball percentage. The amount of times he was hitting the ball in the air was lower than ever. I actually don't think Ha-Sung Kim has been all right. I think he's been pretty bad. Yes, he's definitely been bad. You look at it, and from a stat standpoint, in his last 15 games, you see 218, last 30 games, 211, last 7 games, 231. But then you got to magnify it, and you got to see that in that Pirates game, he himself left on 10 guys in scoring position, 13 runners on base himself in 1 game. Yesterday comes in, maybe sees a couple pitches, and then flies out to the to the shortstop, not moving the runner over the way that we think Ha-Seong Kim should be able to. You look at his OPS right now, and OPS numbers are down across the league. He's fourth in OPS on our team, but just because you're fourth in OPS on our team doesn't mean you got to look at it from a league-wide standpoint. If we have the Cardinals, if they were putting up numbers the way the Cardinals offense is, this is the best team in baseball right now, but they're not. You look at it from last year. Last year he had a 642 OPS. Right now he has a 677. Last year he had a 221 average. This year 221 average. Last year 209. Last year around 2 something. I don't know what it was, but I really do feel like Ha-Seong Kim has been bad. And you look at the play yesterday, whether you want to blame it on Alfaro's throw or Ha-Seong Kim not being able to, or Ha-Seong Kim not being able to get the tag down. I don't know. I think you can say it was both. It looked like a tough play for both. Tommy Edman is a pretty good runner. That essentially set us up to lose the game. And he made another error yesterday. I don't know how it didn't get counted as an error, got counted as a hit, but I don't know, man, for the where's Tatis gonna play crowd, because Ha-Seong Kim is doing so good. It's not looking too good for them. But even then, you got to look at the rest of the lineup too. It's not very good. Manny Machado struggled a bit this series. Jerickson Profar had himself a solid series. But overall, we weren't able to win any of the games. We knew it would be a tough matchup going against the Cardinals, and it's another tough matchup going against the Brewers. This is easily our hardest 10-game stretch, and I thought winning 4 or 5 of these games would be cool. And now you got to win 4 of the next 7, which is going to be tough, but it's what it is, On to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get swept, it's pretty rough. So, okay, it's Mets after the Brewers. That is right. I was looking. I couldn't remember who was playing after. You guys mentioned a couple names. First guy I want to bring up, Hosmer. So Eric Hosmer, you look at his splits, April, March. Dude hit 389 with almost a 600 slugging, well over 1,000 OPS. And his OPS plus was over 200. So he's playing out of his mind, right? Carrying the offense. And it was him. It was definitely him and Manny that were totally carrying the offense early on. However, we've talked about April Eric Hosmer in the past. I want to give you guys a couple numbers just so you can see how bad it's been. So in May is now over. For the entire duration of May, he posted a 255 batting average with a 318 on base and a 316 slugging. That comes out to a 634 OPS and an 81 OPS plus. However, if you dive into the numbers a little bit deeper, right? His OPS plus over the last 2 weeks is 48. And that's when he's really, really struggled. So he started to struggle a lot lately. That's where it's been really bad. One guy to bring up a positive, Luke Voight. I don't know what his splits have been, but he has been really, really good lately. He hit a home run in the 9th inning today. I know it didn't really matter at the time, but he looks way better. He had, what was it, last night? He had the only 2 hits to start the game, and he was 2 for 3. So he's a guy that's been looking a lot better, and that's something that should continue to happen. We should see him improve. I saw, who was it? Someone up here said that they're worried about Jake Cronenworth. I think Jake Cronenworth, I think we're worried about Jake Cronenworth because of the expectations being so high. But when we're talking about guys that are really just don't look like they're there at all, I think you definitely got to bring up Grisham. And then Grisham hits a couple home runs, right? And then you talk about Nola. Nola's been pretty rough. Ha-Seong Kim, Isaac, you brought it up. For basically up until a week ago, Kim had a huge maybe 50 to 100 OPS, even more over Voight. Voight is now up over him by a decent margin. Their numbers have flipped. So it's definitely changed a lot. But I think we're seeing is there's a lot of issues just with this team in the lineup and not being able to bring in runs. I kind of want to see how it looks in a couple weeks because there are a couple tough matchups. But this is a group that was top 10 in runs for all of April. And into May, a couple weeks into May as well, they were top 10. And now it looks like they're going to be in the mid-20s in total runs. And it looks like a lot of their OPS numbers, their batting average, their RBI numbers, they're starting to catch up with them, where the offense was able to generate a lot of runs. And we were talking about it before, good pitching, good defense, find ways to generate runs a little bit. It was working a lot. But now you're seeing the lack of slugging, the lack of power. The lack of timely hitting even is really starting to add up. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely rough. I see people talking about Cano in the pinch hit. We didn't want Cano, so that's kind of the thought there. I guess the reasoning is that they brought in a righty, so they wanted to bring in Cano to hit left-handed. So that makes sense. That does make sense. But when you just look at Cano on the roster, I think that's a big question mark. I think someone said today that he's either 3 of 32 or 3 of 33 so far with the Padres, which is rough. And he only has one extra base hit on the entire season. So I don't think he's going to be here for that long. I was never expecting that, though. He's a bench player. But yeah, I mean, the Dodgers are actually also losing. I don't know. This has been all negative. Do you guys want to talk about some positive stuff? You want to talk about the pitching? The pitching's been good.
Oh, I was going to bring up one more negative thing. The umpire yesterday was horrendous. If you guys don't know, there's a Twitter account that goes by umpire scorecard. And yesterday he goes over like which balls were missed, how accurate called strikes were, how accurate called balls were, and then the overall accuracy. So the overall accuracy was 93%, but the called strike accuracy was 84%. The called ball accuracy was 98%. They had this Snell slider down the middle, which I don't know how you don't call that a strike. That was called a ball. And then every impactful missed call that was a ball that was called a strike was against the Padres. And so they do have this little calculator, and it goes for the overall favor that the umpire was in. And it was plus 0.93 runs for St. Louis. So basically, the Padres were taken away 0.85 runs, and Seattle got plus 0.08 runs. So they basically were gifted a full run by the umpire based off those impactful calls. It was a 3-2 game. The umpire legitimately, single-handedly ruined that game for the Padres, because I know there was one to Alfaro. I think there was runners on, and it was the 0-2 count. It was like a few inches off the plate outside, and it was called strike 3. I think Myers got called on one like that. It was a really bad game for the Padres yesterday with the umpire. We saw Machado get ejected. We saw Bomel get ejected. So, yeah, it was pretty bad.
Now to the positives. Matt, you already actually brought up two names that have been pretty positive. One being Luke Voight. Luke Voight, let me pull up his numbers. I had him up right now. In his last 7 games, is batting .269 with an .845 OPS. Absolutely has been fantastic his past 7 games. I know he was on a hitting streak, I think. I don't know if it snapped or not, but he's been fantastic these past 7 games. What I did not know, and you guys might be surprised because it surely as hell does not feel like this. Trent Grisham, right? He's batting .222 in his last 7 games. Not very good. But he has a .920 OPS in his last 7 games. That is massive. A .364 on base percentage with a .556 slugging percentage. That is huge. So whether you want to buy in or not, that's on you. I really don't know if I want to. I mean, I really like Trent Grisham. Don't get me wrong. I do think he deserves, especially now with, a .920 OPS in your last 7, you definitely deserve some more chances. But if you want to buy in, go for it. I'm trading carefully in a positive direction, though. Those have definitely been 2 very positive names. You could, of course, look at Manny's always going to be a positive name. This pitching staff, Darvish went, what was it, like 7 2/3, allowed 4 runs, which it's pretty tough, but it was essentially like if Goldschmidt and Arenado aren't in that lineup, it's a lot better. But damn, Goldschmidt and Arenado tore him up. That was really it. And Goldschmidt's having an amazing, amazing season so far. He actually leads the NL in OPS now. He overtook Manny in that by like 70 plus points. You look at Nolan Arenado, he had himself a good series. So it was a tough series, but it's mainly because of those 2 guys, man. That's tough.
Dude, those guys were a 2-man wrecking crew this series. It felt like every time they would come up back to back, you'd be like, oh no. Besides when Nick Martinez was pitching, where Goldschmidt popped up and then Arenado grounded the double play, and you're kind of like, oh yeah, That's right. Our stars are better, and then they come back and it's like, oh no, they're just gonna rip you for the rest of the series. Just hit nukes, hit drive-in consistent RBIs. They were very impressive. But yeah, odds love from a Dodgers fan. I see. Josh, who is a Dodgers fan, is talking about the Dodgers struggles and that they're staying together. Seen a few things. Play Voight at first base. Trade Haas. I don't think you can trade Haas. Like, I know he's started out good, but I don't think they're going to do that. I'm over it. Like, I've heard the rumors so many times of like Haas is going to get traded. His contract's going down. He's hitting better. If he can continue to hit all right. Problem is, we just brought it up. He's not been hitting lately, so there you go. Like over the course of the season, yeah, but it's definitely been tough. I also saw, I think it was Jonathan. Someone mentioned that Haas's defense has actually been a lot better, which is true. He had about a 2-week period where he kept stepping behind the bag, but I haven't seen him do that in a long time since it was like the really, really bad one. So I think someone might have prophesied that Haas, we are not doing that anymore, man. I know you like it, but we are done with that. That does not work. So there is that. Who do we have on the mound against the Brewers? Gore?
Manaea, Musgrove, Gore.
It's a 4-game
right,
series,
right.
I think.
Is it 4 games?
And so then Martinez at the end.
4 games.
Martinez at the end. Hey, Martinez has looked a lot better. I think a lot of people, get frustrated because he'll go through like rough patches throughout the game where there'll be a bunch of guys on. But throughout the season, he's done a really good job of not having a bunch of like innings that just completely explode on him. I think a lot of people kind of like knock him a lot just because he's clearly probably the last starter you'd want to throw out there. But that's just more of a testament to like how great the starting rotation is. But Nick Martinez has actually been really good lately. He has a sub-4 ERA. The way he gets talked about, you'd think he had like a 6 ERA, but he's actually been really solid. I see. Yeah. This is an interesting one right here. Are there no position players that we can bring up? It seems hard to believe that there's no one that shouldn't get an opportunity over anyone in this lineup. So, Jay, this is exactly what our issue was with signing Robinson Cano. Because you have guys. You have multiple players that are ready or close to ready. You called up Abrams. You sporadically started him. And if you look at Abrams' numbers, he was getting better towards the end. And then they brought him down. And it just felt like it was kind of a weird time to bring him down. I thought that they were going to do it a little bit earlier. But then he started to heat up, and I was like, wait, maybe we hold off for a second. And then no, they sent him down. So are there position players that you guys would want them to bring up? Anyone that kind of comes to mind?
Well, for the outfield, you get Brent Rucker, you get Estuy Ruiz. We've mentioned the bullpen guys over and over again. I saw Gil. He mentioned Yorman Rodriguez, which is funny. I literally was just talking about him. I believe it was yesterday. I'm like, we might need to keep an eye out on this guy. Yeah, he I think hit 2 home runs his last game or this last week. Gil has it. Catcher, first base, DH. It looks like we might bring him up when Haas inevitably leaves because we don't really have a lot of first base prospects in there. So he might be the next guy up. But outside of that, Estuy Ruiz is still killing it in AA. It looks like you can throw him up to AAA. If not, I think you can bring him up. We've brought a lot of guys up from AA. A lot of teams do it because the talent level between AA and AAA is similar. AAA is just a little bit more older. It has a lot of veterans, a lot of guys on minor league deals. So I think he deserves a shot. I still think he's hitting over 340 right now. He's going insane. Brent Ricker would provide you the power that you need. I know Isaac loves him, so I'm going to let him talk about him, but Estuy Ruiz definitely deserves a shot.
Brooker has kind of been the guy, even when we traded for him, you saw that he kind of has a lot of power. He can hit the ball really hard. I mean, you're going to have to suffer through his average and and I don't know if he strikes out a lot, but his average definitely isn't there right now. I just know that he hits for power, and that's kind of what this Padres team needs. Do I think he's going to be great to start? No, but it seems like if somebody deserves a chance, it's him and him. Oh, thank you. 343. Is that his average, or whose average is that? But I mean, you look at the outfield right now, and surprisingly, they've been producing. I mean, like I just said, Grisham's been pretty good. Profar is staying pretty good. Unfortunately, Myers has knee inflammation. Alzocar has been pretty solid. But if you really look at the minors, there's not many infielders that I can think of that deserve a chance. Of course, you got CJ Abrams, but he came up and Matt said he was improving. Yeah, he was. But it just seems like they want to get him more at bats down there. And then you look at the rest, though. Ruiz 343. Yeah, I figured. The only other guys that you can think of are Ruiz, Mazzara, and Rooker. That's kind of the only guys you can think of that actually might warrant a chance in the MLB. Mazzara, of course, has already played in the MLB. Rooker also. But yeah, man, we don't have much going down in the farm system.
You bring up Rooker. I've seen a lot of people really trying to advocate for Mazzara. I think bringing up Brent Rucker makes a little bit more sense. I'm going to pull up his numbers right here. I know his MLB. If you look at his MLB numbers, they're not good. But that's a lot of guys. He's a right-handed power hitter. So this year he's hitting 253 with a 900 OPS, and he has 9 home runs. So he's likely not going to hit for a high average. Thing is, a lot of these batters are not hitting for a high average, and they're not hitting for power either. So that's the difference. Mazzara is hitting 367. So I guess that does make sense of why you would talk about bringing him up, just because he is playing well. He was a guy that was kind of a fringe roster guy. I do wonder if they would, and I'm not advocating for this, but I wonder if this could happen. I wonder if Azokar could get sent down for Mazzara. I don't know if I like that move. But just kind of playing the hot hand. Although like Azokar's been all right. He has virtually no power, but he hits a lot more than a lot of these guys. He's hitting like 250, and he's had a decent sample size now. And then yes, there was another question. Someone asked, "Can we start?" Here we go. John asked, "Can we save money by trading one of our pitchers and a few prospects? We don't need 7 pitchers, so I understand 6. I trade Blake, CJ, and the catcher in AAA for anyone who can hit well." If you trade Blake Snell, CJ, and a catcher, you are getting an elite player. So that's going for like a home run kind of swing. I do have to say though, a lot of people have been bringing up how Blake Snell could potentially get moved. So that's a very interesting one. We've like briefly discussed it. Maybe we'll do something like an episode on it later. But when you guys are thinking about a Blake Snell trade, it does make sense because he makes like $13 million. But then on the flip side, it doesn't make sense because next year you likely have 4 guys that are free agents. So the thought process that I've been kind of seeing with it is you could move him for an outfielder. In turn, you won't have to sign an outfielder. You're losing Myers next year. You won't have to sign an outfielder, right? So if you trade him for an outfielder, you're subtracting starting pitching, but you're also adding an outfielder. And then you can go and you can re-sign a Musgrove, Manaea, whatever you want to do. And it might give you more flexibility to go get a different pitcher. So like in a way it could be like, do you trade Blake Snell now for an outfielder? And then maybe that guy has control. Maybe you do have to add prospects or do whatever. And then you could go and get Musgrove after. Like that could be the difference. It makes sense if that's the case, but also it's a little bit scary if you have 5 guys that are gone in your 7-man starting rotation a year later. So that is like where I'm hesitant with it. I see Jonathan says, please don't trade Blake, man. I mean, Blake's looked a lot better too. That's the other thing. It's not like you're just selling like, oh, Blake's he's not good. Let's just trade him, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about potentially moving a starter if that is Blake Snell for an outfield bat, kind of switching up this roster? Because I think we can all agree, I don't think the offense is optimal at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. Trading away our strength is the way to go about it. I mean, I'd much rather see Nomar Mazzara or S3 Ruiz come up. Ruiz has a 1078 OPS. Mazzara has a 1095 OPS. Let's exhaust a little bit more options before we go. Let's trade Blake Snell. We still have a little bit before the trade deadline comes. We're going to get Tatis back. Voight is starting to come around. We'll see where Grisham's at. Myers in a month probably will be a little bit more healthy, but Myers has been hitting pretty well. So I think we're jumping the gun a little bit here. You got to remember, Musgrove, Manaea, and Clevenger are all going to be free agents next year. Nick Martinez could potentially opt out this year. He could go and sign for more money if he continues to have the year he has. So that's potentially 4 different starters. And so then you basically have Gore, Snell, and Darvish. And if you trade Snell, you only have Gore and Darvish. And what other rotation with what money? It's not really that good of a move right now. I get it. Like, I would get it if we had the pitching depth that we did have in the minors, but we don't. Ryan Weathers has been struggling. He is beyond struggling. He has nearly a 7 ERA. So that leaves Robert Gasser, that leaves Pedro Avila, and a couple other guys. But do you really want to go into the season with Mackenzie Gore, Darvish, Pedro Avila, Robert Gasser, and potentially Kevin Kopps? I wouldn't want to go with the rotation we have now to next year being a complete downgrade. I'm sorry, that's not the way I want to go about this. We're trying to build a dynasty team. You got to build around these guys, not sell them off for a big bat. I think we can wait off on a little bit. Let's exhaust a little bit more options.
Dude, Blake Snell went 6 innings, 2 hits, and 2 runs yesterday. Why? And he had a really good outing against the Brewers. I know Craig Stammen came in and kind of blew up his ERA, but bro, Blake Snell's been pretty good, especially these past 2 starts. Even going back to the end of last year, Blake Snell's been pretty nasty. You want to go into next year with Ryan Weathers as your pitcher or Blake Snell? There's an obvious answer because Ryan Weathers has been really bad in AAA. And at one point you thought, oh, it's getting better. No, it's not getting better for Ryan Weathers. For anyone who doesn't remember, we wanted to trade him. But you look at it and it's like, why would you? Yeah, Blake Snell's dope, bro. Blake Snell's so much fun. He brings energy. When he's on, he's honestly right there with Darvish and Musgrove. They're all super exciting. They're honestly like so much fun to watch, and they bring energy to the team. They're almost, if you have a guy like Blake Snell in your rotation as your number 5, you're gonna win a lot of games. Remember, 6 teams make the playoffs this year. 6 teams make the playoffs here. The average 6 seed in the past couple years, the past many years actually, wins around 85 games. Are you telling me you're not going to win 85 games with you, Darvish, Manaya, Musgrove, Gore, Clevenger, and Snell? You're going to win 85 games. I think that's almost a given. And then you got Nick Martinez as a number 7 if somebody gets hurt. You shouldn't trade any of the depth. You shouldn't. We saw what happened when we had no depth last year. It has already been said. It is going to take almost a king's ransom for another team to acquire Snell. I don't think we're going to give up Snell. I don't think anyone's going to give up a king's ransom to get Blake Snell. So, in my opinion, we should keep them all. If you're going to ship one off, I don't know who it would be. It could be maybe Martinez. I don't know, but we really shouldn't ship any of them off. They're all really nice. And then you look at the bats. Yes, we need a bat, but Dennis Lin just wrote an article on it. Have you guys seen how many options there are for outfield bats? There are so many decent to good options that we really don't need to give up Snell to get any of those guys. I really don't think so. I think if anything, you'll see the minor leaguers get traded rather than Blake Snell.
Yeah, I think that makes sense too. I think you're right there. Like, also, I think Martinez is more likely to get traded, except for some reason. Have you guys looked into his contract? They gave him a LeBron James contract, bro. He gets an opt-out every year with a buyout. That's LeBron James level contract. Now, I know it's not the money, but I don't understand it. Like, you have I guess he was going to sign somewhere else and they're like, all right, dude, we'll do this for you. But I think it'd be like, I've heard that he's kind of got brought up in getting traded, and I think it makes sense. But if you're a team and you're trying to trade for him, like if you look at the contract, you're like, why would I trade for a guy who gets control over his contract for 5 straight years? Like, he decides if he opts out, or I guess 4, because it's 4 off seasons. But that would be hard to like mock up a deal with Martinez, just because that contract is so much different than what you see typically in MLB contracts. I see people talking about trade Clev. Okay, here's my problem with trading Clev. I understand the thought process of moving a starter, but you guys brought it up. We don't want to run into the same problem where, these 3 guys got hurt. We have no pitching. That's been the case the last 2 years. The way you fix that is you have a ton of depth, and this team has a shit ton of pitching depth. It's pretty ridiculous. But if we trade Clev, it would be for a half year of Clev. His stock is at the lowest it's ever been in his career. What I would argue you would want to do, and this is what I hope they do, is I hope that they keep Musgrove, or they re-sign, extend Musgrove, And I hope that Clev doesn't have the most amazing year and we bring him back on a nice prove-it deal. Because you are losing all those guys. So having Clev in the building, having Ruben Yabel here, I think that gives him incentive to be like, all right, let me do a prove-it deal, like show everyone I am back. Because this year, like, it was always going to be he's going to be battling back from injury. So I don't like the idea of trading him. I think Martinez would make the most sense if a starter was added. Mania could definitely get he could definitely stay. I see Devin brought that up. I definitely like want them all to stay. They're all good. Like I definitely want them all here. It's just a question of like where you can allocate your money. Are you going to go after a big bat? What are you going to do? What's going to happen at catcher? A lot of big questions there. Smart, I'm falling. Thank you, John. Let's see what else we got. What else? Hope Martinez gets traded. Yeah, go ahead, Chase.
I've been looking at all the minor league pitchers that I can recognize from AAA to high A, and it's not very good. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's not very good. I think we need to hold on to as many starting pitchers as we can. Lamed is still struggling, even though he'd be used as a reliever role. He's still struggling. He's had a couple good games. Osvaldo Hernandez is struggling. Every guy in AAA is struggling. I was looking at Pedro Avila. He has, I think, a 6 ERA. Gasser he has like a 4 ERA. The best guy that I found was Jim Wolf. He has a 3.77 ERA. Reggie Lawson has close to a 9 ERA. Actually, no, the best guy, but he's not a starter. He's only started one game, was Moises Lugo. He had a 3.27 ERA, but he's a reliever. I can see him potentially coming up, but guys, our starters do not look good in the minor leagues right now. I mean, we need to hold on to what we have. Seriously, I get that we need an outfield bat, but trading one of our best strengths and the reason that we're winning is definitely not the way to go about it.
Yeah, dude, and you even heard the Cardinals. I was listening to the Cardinals announcers today. Little bit of a sin because of how good our guys, Mud and Don, are. But they were even saying, like, the reason this team is winning games is because of the starting pitching. Bro, you got 5-6 deep down in the starting pitching. It's a good problem when Bob Melvin's like, dude, I normally don't like 6-man rotations, but these guys are all so damn good. I think I'm gonna have to roll with it. And I'm trying to bring up that the list of guys that Dennis Lin named off, and I already know that a lot of you guys have some favorite options. I know Gills or Jarens is Ramon Laureano, but you look at these names, David Peralta should not be an option. Austin Hayes, that's Chase's guy. Cedric Mullins, Santander, Contreras and Happ are both options that, I mean, you killed what is it, to kill two birds with one stone. I think that's what it is. By getting an outfielder and a catcher that both can hit and hit very well. Then you got Benintendi, you got Gallo. Which Gallo's kind of a tough pill to swallow considering he's gonna be a Padre, but I don't know, man. Hopefully it's a change of scenery kind of thing if he does become a Padre. But man, you have to deal with those strikeouts, and those strikeouts are so annoying. My biggest pet peeve is guys who strike out so much, and I know that's him, but I really hope a change of scenery thing kind of goes on. You got Laureano, you got Reynolds, you got Haniger, Lewis, and maybe not Winker. My favorite, I do like Kyle Lewis, but you got a lot of injury risk there. Essentially, he's DHing right now for the Mariners, so that's kind of tough considering you're not trying to go for a DH. You need an everyday outfielder. You got Haniger. Haniger's always a good option. You got Reynolds. And Reynolds is having a tough season, though. That's the thing. As much as I like Reynolds, he is having a tough season. And who knows what the price would cost. If the price cost CJ Abrams, that's kind of a tough one, right? I mean, I don't know. That is a really tough one to evaluate because Brian Reynolds has put up a 6 WAR season, but he's not doing it right now. And you got to wonder, what is Brian Reynolds actually that good? Because before the season started, we had actually talked about a Reynolds trade. And I think all of us kind of thought, well, is he really that good? Was it a fluky season? I think he is good. I think he is really good, but right now he's not showing it. And who knows if the Pirates are going to want to trade him while he's at his lowest value. Other than that, though, you got Laureano's a good option. I think Benintendi's a solid option. I think your best option is essentially killing two birds with one stone, and that's Contreras and Hat. But there's so many options. There's a lot of options. I don't think you have to trade your best guys to get any of them, really, unless they're minor leaguers, I guess.
Not to mention, too, you bring this stuff up, but, like, I know you guys brought up Gallo, but, like, Gallo would cost nothing. Like, Gallo's on his second half of the deal. I don't want them to go get Gallo. I see Devin brought up Benintendi. That's like the guy I really hope they land because he can legitimately be your leadoff hitter. You can have him every single day hitting number one. You can put Tatis at 2. You can put Manny at 3. You put Manny at 4. You can kind of adjust it, but you can make it a lot better. We bring up Gallo all the time, not because we like Gallo, but because AJ Preller doesn't just love Gallo. AJ Preller is completely infatuated with any guy who's a Ranger, any guy who he brought into the organization, and Gallo is the guy right now that fits the mold of him to go and try and get. So, like, that's why we always bring up Gallo. I don't want to see it. I will say, though, when we talk about, like, trading for outfield bats and stuff, I think that we could really, like, easily see Myers get traded because I know that our fan base isn't super high on him. There are other teams that like Will Myers a lot. There are other teams that they look at his contract and go, yeah, his contract's bad, but we view him as a solid player. Like, that is a thing. So you could probably swing, like, Myers for Gallo. I don't want to do that, but you could. But Chase, it saves money, though. If you trade Myers for Gallo, you save money, and then you go and you get Benintendi. I will not be surprised at all when we have a different center fielder. I hope I don't know. I think Trent Grisham will end up being like a depth piece or like end up being like if he continues to struggle. That's the big question with center field. If Trent continues to struggle, I think by the end of the trade deadline, we will very likely see a new center fielder and a new right fielder. And I think that the right fielder's name will be Joey Gallo. And I think we're going to go, damn, it ended up happening. No. But I really feel like that's going to be the case because if you did do a Myers swap for someone, you're freeing up money, and that's how you go and you get your center fielder. I'm really, really fascinated to see what happens this trade deadline. There is an exorbitant amount of pressure on AJ Preller for this trade deadline and next offseason. Like, these are like the kind of the make or break moments for him. It's going to be this deadline because last year he completely whiffed at the deadline. That was an awful deadline. And then this year, what is it going to look like? Because we see all the pitching. We see the ridiculous amount of pitching. You're not going to be able to blame this season on, oh, we had 2 pitchers, which you shouldn't really blame it on because that's like they're constructing the roster, right? But like this deadline is huge. So like I'm really fascinated to see what happens. Maybe he goes, all right, I'm not going back to the well. I'm leaving Gallo aside this time. We'll give him in free agency instead. No, but I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Do you think it makes sense do you think it's very possible that we'd see a new center fielder, new right fielder? Like those are the 2 spots I'm looking at most likely upgrades.
So my thing is I know someone mentioned it. Myers only has 1 home run. He has somewhat reconstructed his swing to be just like more line drives into the outfield, which he's been hitting a lot of singles and everything, which is good because the way that the baseballs have been, we're probably going to do an episode on what is up with the baseballs and offense and the power numbers in the MLB. Because when you look at everything, it's kind of really weird to see how it adjusts from at bat to at bat, basically. Myers is fine. I mean, yes, he's making a lot of money. Once again, not really his fault. The team absolutely screwed up his contract. I don't know what they were thinking. Our biggest need is we need an outfielder that can play all 3 positions. It's not good. It's like Grisham, yeah, he has a 900 OPS in his last 7 games, but he's going to keep it up. And then we have Azokar, which he can't hit for power for anything. Profar's been doing better, but we still don't know where he's going to be at by the end of the season because he's also very hot and cold. So we need either a guy that can platoon with Myers in left and keep Myers healthy, and then you can platoon Voight and Myers at DH because in 2020, that is when Myers was at his best, when he was DHing, also playing outfield. So your options would be, okay, do we keep Grisham in center? Do we swing a trade for Brian Reynolds, which I don't think I'll do. I think he's a little expensive for an underperforming player right now. Cedric Mullins has somewhat been underperforming. And then you look at the rest of the options, you go, okay, you have Austin Hayes, you have Andrew Benintendi, which I think Andrew Benintendi would be amazing in left field / right field. You could platoon him either or. Perfect for that way. But then you still have your problem in center field, and you look at all the options, they're all corner outfielders. You don't have a lot of center options. They're all corner outfielders. So do you feel comfortable with throwing Lowe potentially in center field? I don't. I've seen the way he's plays left field right now. I wouldn't want him in center at this point. And then if you trade for Gallo, which is probably inevitable, he hasn't really been hitting for the greatest amount of power either. He's hitting, 200? He strikes out more than Myers. He may walk a little bit more. But is that the road you really want to go down? You want to go bomb or strikeout? We need guys that get on base. We need like an Andrew Benintendi. I don't think trading Myers is the way to do it. Then you lose a depth piece in the outfield for a guy that strikes out or hits a home run. I don't think that's the way to go. I think you trade for Andrew Benintendi or Austin Hayes, and then you figure out what you got to do with center. I mean, Ian Happ is probably the best option. Like we said, Contreras and Happ is probably the best way. Isaac said it. 2 birds with 1 stone. Any other option, I think you're going about it the wrong way.
And yeah, I get that, Chase. And I do think you're right, man. I think Myers is kind of one of the more likely guys to see in a different uniform come trade deadline. And if you do keep him around, what you want to do is platoon him with Profar and have him DH every once in a while, or maybe more often than not, because, he had a knee problem last year, basically all throughout last year. The knee problem came up again. It's going to be very important to preserve his health because health has been an issue for him. But when healthy, he's a decent player. You look at it though, Gallo for Myers probably wouldn't be it. I think you'd probably, of course, that's probably not what you meant straight up, but Lamet, maybe other top 10, not top 10, like top from 8 to the 15 range, I think is where you would essentially look in that kind of trade. And maybe you would see Myers go, but I don't know, man. It's kind of tough to evaluate trades right now. There are so many options on the table. I'm hoping they do get two outfielders. If not 2 outfielders, then a catcher and an outfielder, because that would help immensely in this lineup. Around the time you're getting Tatis back, your lineup is going to look so much deeper than many other lineups in baseball. We're not asking for much. We're just asking for a top 15 lineup that can put up some run support for these pitchers, man, because Blake Snell got no run support these past 2 starts. Yu Darvish, yeah, he was probably going to lose this start anyway, but still, he didn't get much run support. Same with Martinez. Like, not many of these guys are getting good run support. And the problem becomes not when, because I don't think this offense is a huge problem just in general. I think when you look at it, they just suck against good pitching. That's why you need 2 really good guys, because they're really bad against good pitching. Like, of course, you expect the lineups to struggle against good pitching, but damn, bro, this bad? Like, you had 27 strikeouts in 2 games. That's absurd. And when you look at them playing easy teams, of course, they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're winning. They're putting up runs. There was a little bit of a weird thing where they were just disgusting on the road against Atlanta, and I forgot the other team. But yeah, bro. But I don't know, man. The offense is really worrisome against these good pitching rotations. And we knew this 10-game stretch would be like that. They would struggle on offense. Essentially, the pitching would have to carry the load. But got swept by the Cardinals. Not a good look. That Cardinals team is good. Luckily, the Dodgers have lost 2 to the Pirates. Who knows? I mean, they're probably going to win today, but have lost to the Pirates with Julio Urias and Walker Buehler on the mound. The Giants, I believe, might have won today. I don't know what they did yesterday, but whole point, 85 wins by the end of the season. That has been the lucky number for the 6th seed. 6 teams make it this year. That's all we need. A bat or 2, and the way the starting pitching rotation is going right now and the bullpen reinforcements we just talked about an episode or 2 ago, it's going to go a really long way, man. You could see him blow past 85 wins for sure.
Yeah, that's true. I think when we look at like the outfield and stuff like that, my larger concern is not necessarily like making the playoffs, but like when you get into the playoffs, if you throw out some of these guys in your lineup, it's like, dude, they're not gonna hit playoff rotation. Like you're gonna score like that's a recipe of we made the playoffs, we walked in and we scored 4 runs in the first series and we got eliminated. Like that's what I would be like most concerned about. Let's see what else we got here. Aren't outfielders and first base players traditionally supposed to be the power hitters? Yeah, I mean, traditionally, yes. That's not like cut and dry, but like you usually do typically see it out of first base. And then usually I would say more like corner outfielders typically. JD Martinez would also be a good pickup. Yeah, I know a lot of people are really high on JD Martinez. Yeah, I see Chase. That's just it's the same thing of like, yeah, it's a good bat to get, but where are you gonna put him? Yeah, I guess you could kick someone out. Like it doesn't fix your problems necessarily. It's a solid corner outfield bat to add. The other thing is he's more of a DH. Like he is more of a DH. Voight's coming around. He's better than Voight, but Voight didn't cost anything to trade for. Like JD Martinez is on. I'm assuming I haven't looked at his deal lately, but I'm assuming it's a pretty expensive deal. So I don't dislike it. I just think it would be hard to find a spot to put him. Also, Ian Happ and Contreras trade package. So I know this site is completely unreliable, trade simulator, but I made one. Tell me what you guys think. All right. Oh no. Let's see. Okay. Tell me what you guys think. Talk to me. What do I add? Contreras Happ for Grisham straight up. It says yes. I don't think that gets accepted, right?
I think the only reason that is because I think Contreras is on a 1-year deal and he's worth like a few million. How old is Ian Happ? Let me see what's on his contract real quick.
So after this year, he has 1 more year of arbitration. I don't know how old he is.
1 more year of arbitration.
Actually, wait. Let me.
So he's still making close to $7 million this year, and Grisham's really cheap, and
he's 27 this year.
Okay, 27. So Grish is a little younger. He's got a few more years of control. And he plays a premium spot in set. Realistically, he's not worth 45.8 just because he has been absolute garbage. So what I would do, let's see. What do they need? They have a shortstop. They have a third baseman.
Everything.
Yeah. You could probably throw in Eggy. I think Eggy would be a good guy for them. And we've always said he's trade bait, so Eggy would be a good guy. Are we all bought in on James Wood? Because then I think you can throw Mears in. And I think that would be solid. I think Grisham, Eggy, and Mears. And then you can probably get the Cubs to pay for Contreras.
And you could probably get back like a bullpen arm or something too, because the Cubs aren't trying to win this year.
Yeah, but do the Cubs really have a bullpen arm that we need? Remember, we do have a lot of guys coming back.
What do you think, Isaac? I just made it really quick.
Sorry, bro. I was playing. That was really loud. I don't know, because Grisham is kind of trash right now, but I'm actually really surprised they haven't changed that, because I know that's been that way since the offseason, but he's played a premium position. He is very, very highly touted amongst the league right now, even if he's doing pretty bad. Maybe it gets done. I don't know, man. I think a Contreras Happ package actually wouldn't cost that much. I think they'd be willing to lose a little more. I think they would want an influx, like a flux of prospects rather than just one player. I think they'd want a package just because that is a bad team. That is essentially a pretty bad team. So I think they would want just more prospects. I think they would want more depth over just that star, the potential star, all-star player that we once thought Grisham was. So I actually think it'd be a little different, but your idea is right. I mean, we know what we're going to have to give up for Contreras and Happ, and hopefully that is the trade I want. I think that is a great trade. Like I said, either 2 outfielders or 1 catcher and an outfielder.
I think Campy might be it.
Yeah, I was
the Cubs were infatuated with Campy. I forgot about that.
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say too. I think Campusano actually might be another an option too. And even though, I think Robert Murray actually talked about it. Um, he said that the league in general is a little down on Campy, whether it be because of his arrest or because they don't think his swing will translate to the MLB or because his catching's kind of trash, whatever it is. Um, it's just got to be accepted. Catchers take a little longer than other positions to come up to the MLB and perform. But Campusano has a bunch of upside. Campusano, we've all known, is one of the more likely, if not the if not the most likely to get traded of the prospects. So I don't know, man. I do think that is a good trade, but we unfortunately still got a long ways till that shit happens, man. And we're gonna have to deal with this offense, or we're gonna have to just roll with it. Like I said, the lineup looks a lot deeper when Tatis is in there. Hopefully Myers too. But it's not looking good when your fourth best OPS is like a 6, is in the 6s. That should be like your 7th or 8th.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting how it plays out. So I know we're probably going to be on for a few more minutes here. Blackwell Friar Talk should be the GM. I'm all for it. Give us AJ Preller's salary. We'll do it. And then JDS also has a pretty negative comment here. How can any fan have faith in AJ Tingler Preller at this point? Are you confident in him? If so, why? No.
Nah, bro.
But I guess cautiously optimistic, I guess would be the best way to put it. I mean, we said at the beginning of the year, like, this is a make or break year for Preller. It really is, because what is this? Is this either year 8 or it's year 9? I think it's 8. Like his resume is really bad. If they were to miss, but I also don't think, like, looking at, like, oh, did you make the playoffs? I don't think that's a good metric, but I think that's the metric they're going to use. So I still fully expect him to be back next year, because I still project the Padres to be a playoff team. I think there's better GM options out there at the same time. I think that he gets a lot of credit for stuff where it's like, dude, that's the organization saying we're going to spend 5 times the amount of money that we've ever spent. And they're kind of like, look what Preller did. It's like, I don't know. I don't know how much I buy into that. So I would say cautiously optimistic for me.
I don't know if I believe that AJ Preller is the solution here. I think he's part of the problem, and I don't know how much faith I can have in him, because I know we were talking about it, and I was probably the biggest advocate out of the 3 of us, saying, yeah, I think AJ Preller is great at finding talent, and he's somewhat good. Before we did the trade breakdowns, I said he's somewhat good at making trades, but he has a really good eye for spotting talent and finding prospects in international, domestically, and in trades. Do I think he deserves to be a GM? That is a different question. I think I said we should demote him to head of scouts, director of scouts, and have a large say in who we should go get within the drafts and trades prospect-wise. But outside of that, I can't say that I trust Preller. Made a lot of bad trades. He has an obsession, a very, very unhealthy obsession with the Rangers. It is really bad, to the point Nomar Mazar is probably going to be called up sometime this year, when, I don't know, realistically, he probably wouldn't have been on the Padres roster if he wasn't an ex-Ranger. He's been going after Gallo for years. He went after Profar for years. He went after Nick Martinez, an ex-Ranger. I mean, at some point, you got to look at this and he goes, Preller is, he's really good at finding talent, but I don't trust him to be the GM. At one point, you got to say that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't really know. I'm cautiously optimistic with AJ Preller. I guess I can say I probably like him maybe the most out of us 3, and the only reason I say that is because I'm kind of just thankful, I guess, in a sense. I really like that we're actually, like, in contention and actually good now. But I can't take that into consideration when considering, like, this still isn't the best Padres team, considering the amount of money we're spending and and really taking everything else into consideration, some trades he's made, some signings he's made, I shouldn't take that we're actually a good team. I got to separate that from the bad stuff that he's made that probably hurt us more than make us good. Essentially, could have used that money to make us an even better team than we are right now. So you look at it, yeah, you win some trades, you lose some trades. Manaea and Rodgers have essentially been fantastic trades as of right now. You look at that Rodgers trade, and you got the Twins to eat up all the money, and Paddock is now injured. RIP, my guy. I love that guy. I hate Emilio Pagan. I don't know if he's doing good. I know he was doing good last time I checked, but we got Brent Rucker also, who's supposed to be an average outfielder, like a decent depth piece, I think. So I don't know, man. I think after this trade deadline is really gonna solidify me on where he's at, because obviously last trade deadline it was horrific. It was so bad. It was desperation, trade for Jake Marisnick in the last 10 minutes of the trade deadline bad. When you got Adam Frazier.
Did you see that? Oh my God, what's his name?
Espinosa
made his debut. Espinosa made his debut, and he looked pretty good, actually.
Yeah, he did. He had a pretty good debut. Oh, speaking of Pagan, Isaac, you might have to buy his jersey. I hope you know that
he's not on the
deal
team anymore. No, he's not on the team anymore.
He has a 2.12 ERA, buddy.
He's not on the team anymore. He's gone.
I will say my Hosmer pet's looking pretty good. He's below. Isn't he below 800 OPS right now?
Yeah,
I think he's hovering around like 813. Like
that's the bet.
813.
That's a bet. 800
he
OPS.
Is currently at. If it lets me go to.
I think he's like 790. Oh yeah, I got it.
He's at 795. He is below an 800 OPS.
Oh, he just fell below today, then, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that is looking good, man. That is looking good. However, I'll take us like a 787, like a 780 OPS from him, considering, Jesus Christ, he's been super abysmal. As long as he plays good defense, bro, because if he's not playing good defense, then I don't really care. Yeah, man. Voight was a big name, but fell off. I think Voight's actually, I mean, like Matt said earlier, Voight's kind of coming around. It's just Frazier. That Frazier trade made me a little mad, but when you look at it, like, Marcano helped the Pirates beat the Dodgers yesterday, so I'm cool.
Okay, I got one more.
I know. I was gonna mention that. That was crazy.
Marcano off. Was it Urias?
Oh, yeah.
Bro, he shit on that.
No, it was Bueller.
Oh, was it Bueller? It was.
I think it was Bueller. Yeah,
it was Julio Urias.
Yeah, it was.
It was. Okay, my bad.
Urias. Yeah, he took Urias dead center.
Wait, did he hit Bueller before? That was all in the same series. Oh man, that makes it worse, bro. So we traded this dude for Ray Kerr. All right, we'll see how that goes. I will say, okay, with Preller, I have one more thing I want to address. Okay, pause real quick. If we threw me out in left field, let me let you guys know there would be a lot of errors in left field. So I don't know if we're finishing with 105 wins.
That is funny. No way, this guy's back, bro. Hold on.
Oh, we almost went the whole stream.
I know, dude. That's really good.
We were so close.
Okay. Let's see. We have a few things. Okay, so we're looking at these trades. Someone brought up the trades that he's made in the past. Like, he's got burned. We in the offseason, when we were talking about Preller, we went over like all of the trades up until 2020. So all up until 2019, where we graded them. It was bad. Like, I was like, yeah, Preller. My thought going into that was Preller had a rough year last year, but he's been a good GM. Then we went through all those trades, and I was like, holy crap, dude. Preller's had like a couple solid trades. Fernando Tatis grand slam, out of the park home run, and then missed on everything. And then that's not even counting 2020. Because, dude, the 2020 trades are starting to look real scary. Like the Nola trade, the fact that we had Ty France. And then you look at our lineup and you're like, bro, I can start adding up who we traded away with these guys. And they're all like, a lot of them are all-star caliber players. Like, it gets like, wait a second, like this isn't look good. But then I would say that the one positive thing I have with the trades is I really like the way that the trades have looked this year. The two trades that we have brought up have been extremely helpful. And the fact that somehow the the fact that somehow sorry, you guys got me distracted over here.
Never mind, no,
Reading the comments. I don't know. Basically, the fact though is that like these trades, we're looking at them and it's been rough for a while, but I don't know. I'm not super confident. Final thing I'll bring up on Preller, then we'll probably wrap it up here in a second. The league won't trade or do business with AJ. That is the thing that scares me most. That is honestly the thing where I'm looking at it and I go, why does everyone like play Preller and then not make a trade with him? Because the Padres are a team that gets brought up every single trade. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But all right, guys. I don't have anything else. Anything else you guys want to add? I see Eric and Isaac are having a conversation.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I saw someone ask about Alfaro DHing instead of catching. I think that's a good idea too. Especially with the way Hosmer's been hitting. I think you bench Hosmer for a little bit. You put Voight at first and Alfaro DH. I think that works. Apparently, Isaac and Eric got some things to talk about. I'm gonna let them go.
Wasn't me, Eric. That's so coincidental though. Yeah, man, the Padres, I still think they're in a good position. Every team's gonna get swept along the road. It's a 162 game season. You're gonna see those hiatuses where a team goes like 3 for their last 10, 3 for their last 13, whatever it is. It's gonna happen. I know it happens to every single team. So you can think this isn't a good team, not the best team. But I think they're gonna do something at the deadline. I think Tatis is gonna be great. Tatis is gonna be great when he comes back, and this pitching staff's gonna keep doing what they're gonna do, man. And like I said not that long ago, this bullpen's gonna be the healthiest bullpen in baseball in a couple months. I'd say in a month or two. I think they're gonna be the healthiest bullpen in baseball. They're gonna be a good bullpen. So we'll see how it all goes. And I mean, go Padres, man. I hope they split the series. I think they're gonna split the series. I think they got some good pitching matchups. Best one, I think everyone should tune in. Every MLB fan is going to be Joe Musgrove against Corbin Burns. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch that one. Got Mackenzie Gore going. This is going to be a good series. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
That definitely will. That'll be a pretty sweet one. I see Jaron says that he bet $250 for a 4-game sweep. Jaron, you likely lost $250. But if you don't, the payout has to be like over $1,000. That has to be a massive payout. So if you really did that, it's interesting. But let's see. I think that's pretty much all. Quan Pham says Paddock is going to raise some eyebrows against AJ. I don't think so because everyone knew that he had like the Mets trade got rejected because Paddock failed the physical. So that was already well known. That was like a very well known thing. So I don't think that's going to look like it. I think it's more that Preller's other guys that he's traded have been like that. And I think that people just feel like, we can just play Preller to get the price up for other prospects that we really want. Because now you look at the Padres farm system and it's very top heavy and there's not that mid-tier group. So it's hard to facilitate a trade. Final thing, we also brought up that, how bad the Padres starting pitchers are in the farm system. However, Chase Isaac, I don't know if you guys know this, but this is like an insane draft. And the Padres could very likely replenish a lot of their starting pitching with this draft. We're going to have Ryan on, I think 1 month to the date. So I think that's in 2 weeks, 1 month to 1 month before. I think it's the 17th of June. We're going to have Ryan on and he's going to go over a bunch of different guys that could be potential options in the draft. So that'll actually be pretty fun to learn about some of those guys. Final thing I'll say, Isaac is innocent and I stand for him. All right. I saw you at Coachella that year.
That's right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. We'll talk to y'all soon. Thank you.